welcome back. Time for us to delve into our topical issue for today. And we would first off be looking at the Abule Egba Inferno. The pipeline fire in Abule Egba area of Lagos State has been put out by a combined team of firefighters and emergency responders. The Lagos State government announced this in a tweet on Monday, that was yesterday. You'd recall that there was a panic in the Ekoro area of Abule Egba of Lagos State around 8 p.m. on Sunday when a pipeline belonging to the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, exploded. 3 persons, including a minor, were confirmed dead in the Inferno, and many houses were also burnt. Discussing this with us this morning is Sheson Johnson, a social commentator. Good morning, Sheson.
Good morning.
Good morning, I thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, looking at the recurrence of pipeline vandalism leading to fire and loss of property and lives in Abule Egba especially. It happened in 2018, in 2019, and now in 2020. What does this say about the awareness of these vandals towards the risks of this action of vandalism?
This is showing to us that we don't prepare for this kind of situation. We don't deter it, because this has been happening repeatedly, and then that should have reawakened our consciousness to the issue of security, especially within the realm of the activities of these vandals. Because if you look at the effects or the aftermath of this kind of disaster, the man-made, self-inflicted disaster, you will know that it is multidimensional. And as a community, as a state, as a people, we need to work together and stop this. Because if this is happening, not just only in Abule Egba, we've had it in Jesse, we have it in Jegun and other parts of Nigeria. I think we need to sit down and begin to see how we can stop this beyond reactions or intervention. Because even to say the truth, we are not yet prepared to address cases of emergency, like fire outbreak, especially the one caused by vandalization.
Before we go into the fire outbreak itself, let's look into vandalism itself. Now, we see that this is not just what is happening just today or yesterday. It has been in existence for a long time. Where is the mixing link for the government to put measures in place? Is it all about just talking or just trying to make videos that, okay, this is bad, or what are the measures that they should put in place?
You see, governance is not by chance and should not be left in the realm of chance. It should be deliberate attempt. That's why we must have people that have the interest of the state, the interest of the people that are responsible and responsive, people that are ready to work. Coming to the issue of vandalization, you see, vandalism itself or vandalization is a deliberate attempt, calculated attempt. They have their reasons. You know, maybe perhaps for economic reason, economic gain, and that's why they don't even think about the disaster that may before them, not even the community now. It may be a case of assumed or real marginalization or deprivation. But for the case of Abule Egba in question, I think this is a deliberate attempt to sabotage the country and for economic gain in particular, because I don't see this as political. For me, I think this is based on economic gain, and but it's just unfortunate that even the people of the community, you know, they have to also see how to govern their environment. Because if you are saying this is a property of the state or the government or NNPC, and you are not concerned about it, by the time you have a disaster, then the community will pay directly or indirectly for it. Because you look at the number of reportedly, some people are saying we have 200 houses. You just imagine, you know, the effect of this in terms of social the stress, in terms of the effect that will now be looking for. These people are becoming refugees now, in quotes now, because if they don't have people around them, then they still have to provide where to stay and what have you. Then think in terms of the economic loss for NNPC, even for the people and for the community. These are some of the reasons that we need to sit down and begin to see how we can police or govern this our national properties and resources.
You know, I asked the question earlier about these vandals. Is it that they are not aware of the risks? Because some of them even lose their lives in the process. What would make a man want to go to the extreme or to the extent of wanting to lose his life in a bid to, maybe vandalize government property, or just want to make ends meet?
That's a very good question, because one begin to see, is it that they don't place value on their lives? But what I see in this is they are of the opinion that they are considering the reward, what they will gain, scooping oil and selling it. What we should also think, who are they selling it to? Those are some of the investigation that must be done. So, but in all, they are thinking they'll be able to maneuver their way, using iron or steel, bow, or what they call it, buckets. They say they will use plastic and what have you. But this is a volatile substance that any ignition can cause disaster. And at the end of the day, you begin. But these are people that are already in a way condemn their life. Because you can't see somebody that put premium values on his life that will engage in this kind of
but in the
business.
South, where vandalism was very, very predominant at a particular time, we saw families, mothers, people who actually were sane, very okay, going to scoop fuel. So I do not really think it's people who have condemned themselves to death.
You see, somehow, because of poverty, or because of this so-called, I want to eat out of the national cake. By the time they see, some people will have started it, but before you know it, the whole community, majority of the people will now begin to line up to do the same thing. But for me, it's just still based on the value you place on your life. Because I could remember something like that happened, but it's not this is not a case of vandalization. A trailer fell, and I was still very young then. Then everybody was scooping, was getting the petroleum product. Then I remember my father telling me that, boy, we need to live here. Now something can happen. And before you say Jack Robinson, it happened that
Could
day.
that be because he is aware of the risks? Perhaps some of those people don't even know about the risks.
No, but I don't think so. Because everybody will know when a fire goes up, especially via petroleum, we know the
In this case, it was even said that they were already perceiving the smell of fuel in the community, and so some people already evacuated.
But they are very sensitive to that. I think if not for that, that would have even, you just imagine. Reportedly, we have 200 houses, but we're having a report of three persons there. So that shows that people are already vacated the area before the Inferno. But we should not just start vacating. I think community should police themselves. The minute you see this kind of analyzation, then call the police, call the necessary authorities so that they can stop these people on time, instead of the whole community joining them to do this and to do that. Because by the time you have the disaster, then you won't be there to tell the story again. But again, I think we have, like I said earlier on, this is multidimensional. This will affect the environment. This will affect the economy. This will affect lives.
Would you not say that those people that are scooping fuel because of the level of their poverty, or the level of not being aware of what is going to become out of it?
Yes, of course. Some people will base their arguments on poverty or lack of information, but in all of these are not excuses, because this is a criminal act, and that's why these people should not go without being taken to the court of law, and justice should be served on them. Because if not, this will repeat itself. Like she said, this is happening repeatedly, and we should stop this.
Now, it was said that people have been perceiving the smell for days now, or for some. But how can you judge the proactive measures of our security operatives in this country?
I think for this, I want to praise them, you know. But in whole, in its totality, I think this country, we continue to say it, we are not ready to manage emergency. We are not ready to manage disaster of this nature. Because if you look at the preparedness of and the responses of this NEMA, the fire brigade, firefighters and what have you, you will see that there is still a kind of delay, you know, in response. But in whole, for this particular Abule Egba fire explosion, I think I will praise them a bit. But we need to follow global standard, so that when we have this kind of event or Inferno, so that we can address it on time, you know, because this is self-inflicted.
But addressing it on time also has to do with the people knowing what to do in cases of fire. Yes, we know that, evacuating the place when you perceive that a fire is about to happen is very important. But a lot of people don't even know the emergency number to call in cases of fire. I know that in Lagos there is the 112 emergency line, but there are also some other numbers that you have to call to get emergency response. Even though we know that, yes, you might not get the response on time because they don't have the facilities, just like the case that happened in the Lagos market. It was said that they couldn't, access the place where the fire happened because of crowd control, crowd issues.
I agree, because if you look at it, people don't know what to do, and in the process they mess up the whole issue, and now begin to see that it will now lead to lack of cooperation
and bring out their phones to take videos,
and this is bad. Even if you are doing that to pass information, but call the right authority.
That's the first thing.
So instead of just passing, call radio stations and begin to also call the right numbers that will address the whole situation. Again, I think this also boils down to the issue of education in Nigeria. This should be part, maybe civic education, what have you. We should do that. Radio station, TV station. Let's begin to educate the people. And some of these public places, let's put signs so that people will know these are number for firefighters, these are number for NEMA, the police, and in case of fire brigade, these are number to call. And the people also, by the time you see the arrival of this constituted authority to address this kind of disaster, I think we should allow them to do their work instead of just running around with pail of water and what have you, in the process complicating the whole situation. Let's allow them. And this also lead to the seriousness we put to our construction, especially public facility. We don't even think of if there is a disaster. You don't think of where are we going to get water. You now see them, even after arriving maybe late or being delayed, you now see them now be looking for water. They'll now be looking for water. So you see that our system is not designed to allow effectiveness. That's why people, when they are constructing roads, there should be provision for water system, so that this kind of situation will be addressed quickly. But corruption, there will be in their budget, estimation, they will put it there, but in the real execution, it will not be there. So public places, even I think in the construction of pipeline, I think protection should also be put in place. Some of them are too exposed, and even those of them underground, I think there should also be provision that maybe a water system should be. I don't know those people.
But there's also the building and planning issue here, where there's some areas where buildings should not be, located, especially areas where there are pipelines. What happened to the planning and urban, shouldn't we have something like that?
That's what we are talking about, because by the time areas like that, I think housing,
residential,
it should not be a residential area. And if it is a residential area, then it should go underground, so that it won't be accessible to these vandals. But then even on the issue of construction of houses, you see houses being too close to each other. And when we now have fire outbreak, there is no way it will spread. And that's why that's what is increasing the outbreak, because it will now, even houses will not have a fire facility. And those are the things we need to work on. Even as you build your house, think of this kind of emergency. I remember I work in an organization. Occasionally we do fire drills. Without a fire outbreak, they just trigger the alarm, and everybody, you have to follow the instruction so that you know, and then they will know the number of people inside. They will know people that have come inside today, and people that are safe, and what have you. This is preparing for emergency. So I think this kind of drills should be done, not only for pipeline fertilization, but even for a residential area, offices, and what have you, so that we begin to prepare for this, whether we like it or not. This can come naturally. But
are we serious about mitigating this kind of issue if we are not putting our foot down to say that on this particular area you cannot build a residential, you cannot fix a house or fix a building? Are we serious about fighting it if we don't begin to put our foot down against such practices?
We are not. I don't think we are serious yet. But local government administrators, governors, I think they should stand on their ground and make decisions. Sometimes in governance, you have to forget about pity, about sympathy, because somehow, if you don't do the needful, by the time disaster occur, then you'll be blamed. But I hope the statement made by Governor of Lagos State will be taken serious. There should be action, and then first of all, start investigation. Who are these funders? Who are those people buying this from them? And then take them to the court of law and serve justice on
but before we wrap up, I just want us to look into people, organizations, and individuals having fire extinguishers. You discover that a lot of people have these fire extinguishers in their car at home, but it has expired. Some people do not even know that it has expiry date.
Some people don't even know how to use it.
Is it not that, okay, we need to start looking into these things so that we can at least have a first aid whenever all these things happen?
This is worrisome, and these are some of the things that we need to take serious, because especially within this time that the dry season, we have been seeing outbreak of fire, and especially when we now have increase in the use of gas cooker at home. I think we need to educate ourselves. If you're having, what's the essence of you having expired fire extinguisher at home, and in case of any fire outbreak, you won't be able to use it? I think we should see this as investment to protect our life. This is not for fashion. This is not a case of trying to beat having it in your car so that when the road safety acts of it, for you to beat their intervention. No, it's for your safety. So let's do the needful, know how to use it. And we have internet. Google it. You will know how to use it. And when you check the expiring date, buy new ones. These are things that we should invest in so that to protect our life. And I think there is nothing is too much to invest in the protection of our lives.
Thank you so much. It goes without saying that our emergency response and proactiveness really needs to be worked on in Nigeria to avoid the loss of property and lives, especially in cases of fire. I would take a short break now. Thank you so much, Jason Johnson, social commentator. We'll be back to talk more. Please stay tuned.
you for joining us, and the program is the Cafe on Impact Africa Television. We'll go straight to our next topic, and that is still on the Imo election verdict. Members of the main opposition, People's Democratic Party (PDP), have thronged the major roads of the popular Egba, Abuja Eagle Square, and Federal Secretariat located in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT Abuja, in protest of the alleged miscarriage of justice perpetrated by the Supreme Court over the Imo Kuba appeal judgment. The crowd-pulling protest has also slowed down human and vehicular movements in the affected areas of the metropolis, addressing the party faithful supporters and sympathizers. The PDP national chairman, Prince Uche Secondus, said, "We believe that our big men will hear our cry today to revisit, review, and reverse the judgment." And that was what has happened. But no sooner than the PDP's speech ended, then scores of hoodlums trooped out from unknown places carrying banners in the name of supporters of the ruling All Progressive Congress (APC). All right, looking into this, we have in the studio Angel Folorosho. He's a public affairs analyst. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Mr. Folorosho. Now, is protest the way to go for the PDP in this case of the Imo State Supreme Court judgment?
Well, thank you very much. I think there's freedom of expression, and you have freedom of expression, and it's still guaranteed in the Constitution. Then I think if you feel cheated or threatened as regards certain maybe action that you feel that should not be regarded as correct way of doing things, I think you can come out and demonstrate. And that one is coming under the theory of civil disobedience.
And in what end is it? Because in the past, there has never been any case of the Supreme Court reversing itself. It's known as the highest, court of justice. And of course, a lot of people are already saying that there have never been any case or any situation where the Supreme Court has reversed itself. And when you're protesting, it means you're hoping that something can be done. So do you see anything changing with this protest?
Yeah, things will change. As regards that the Supreme Court cannot revert itself. I mean, that one is flying in the face of social realities. The basic thing is that if you listen to this great legal luminary, great jurist, that's Justice Chukudifo Okuta, he spoke in the Supreme Court in the time past. I've forgotten the case between two persons, so I'm not a lawyer, but we can use it as a reference. He said that finality came to them. But that does not mean that they are infallible. He said if there is something hairy, it's better not to leave that hairy for as precedent. If you have done something wrong, you have to reverse it. What are we talking about? Dynamism. We are talking about social dynamism. The implication of that is this thing is wrong, you put it there. You bury your shame or whatever, or arrogance. He described it that if they will not go for that, it described it as arrogance of pride or something like that one. So if that is the case, and supposing that the Supreme Court has done something that cannot be bequeathed, cannot be referred to, who says that's the finality?
So what are
history will not judge them well.
What are the indices or what are the prerequisites that would show or that would make the Supreme Court reverse this judgment?
The point is that if you look at the study of government, there's what they call judicial review.
Okay.
Judicial review system. After something, even in some corporate setting, there's what they call AAR, that is after action review. We have done it. Whether it's good or not, let us go and review it. You understand? So that we examine, are you doing it on your behalf, on behalf of the Republic? That's what matters. So what I want is calling, if you look at that of a Himo something, I mean, it's very difficult to understand the judgment from some quarters, because by virtue of calculations, looking at some mathematical implications, and then some things that are gone under that you cannot say here. You understand? So many things are going on in this country, and then they want it papered over. But we leave it at that one. On the basis that if something that is not good is done on behalf of the Republic, it's not on behalf of Buhari, it's not on behalf of the Chief Justice. We are talking about the Federal Republic. However the Republic is standing, something that is not okay should be reversed. And then you